Pro bono legal work is basically volunteer attorney work for needy members of the community, and it can be in multiple different areas, from a housing case, or if you have a criminal case where you might need some sort of representation. For low-income, needy individuals, that's just not an option to have that extra money to pay for an attorney, and that's where we step in as pro bono attorneys and say, don't worry about paying us, we're here to represent you. In 2017, the Simon Law Firm was one of 19 law firms that signed on to what was called the Pro Bono Challenge, which is where law firms would encourage their attorneys to participate in pro bono work and would commit to having each attorney do about 10 hours of pro bono work. With 13 attorneys in the office, our firm had pledged to do 130 hours. In 2018, we more than doubled that and did close to 280 hours of pro bono work for members of our community in multiple different areas. One big one was the Missouri Coalition for Right to Counsel, where we basically acted as volunteer public defenders for a very overworked and underfunded public defender system in Missouri. Another area that attorneys have participated in is helping veterans get expungement so that they can obtain their veteran benefits. And finally, an area that I'm very personally invested in and is very near and dear to my heart is helping survivors of domestic violence get orders of protection. So for victims of domestic violence who have been abused or stalked by someone that they know, I represent them in court when they have their order of protection hearing. And that means being by their side, helping them put on evidence, helping them cross-examine their abuser, which can be an incredibly intimidating thing to do for a survivor. And so I step in and say, don't worry about it. I'm gonna handle this for you. I'm gonna be there with you. And typically when we handle these kinds of hearings, it's the abuser and the survivor standing very close to each other. And so what I'll do is I will physically act as a barrier between them. And I think just physically my presence there helps them. Not only just my legal experience and having an attorney by your side, but having someone physically stand there and say, I'm going to represent you, I'm going to fight for you right now. That can be a huge relief to someone who has already been through so much. So one of the pro bono cases that I worked on was for a young woman who had found herself in a really dangerous and violent relationship where her partner was abusing her, and once she had found that courage and strength to leave, was now threatening her. And so being able to get that order of protection for her now meant that she had legal recourse against him. He knew that he could no longer contact her, that she really had that extra element of safety, knowing she could call the police, and that they would be able to intervene and help her should he continue to stalk and harass her. And at the end of it, once we got that order of protection signed, she gave me this big hug and told me how much she appreciated my help, and that's an incredible feeling. It's impossible to describe how good you feel in that moment, knowing you've helped someone really put an awful stage in their life past them and help them move forward. I do pro bono work because I care about my community. I love St. Louis. I love my city, and this is a way that I can actively use my skills to help people around me in so many different ways, and to actively, and I hope, change people's lives. I've actually recently been acknowledged with a pro bono honoree through the Women's Justice Awards. It means a lot to me, actually. For me, it is, it's great to have the acknowledgement, but it really motivates me to do more, especially when I see my other honorees and how much they've done. We as attorneys just have such a great opportunity to do so much good, and it would be a shame to not take every single opportunity we can to put some good into the world.